Welcome to the EC Utopia Education Channel. In today's session, we're going to talk about creating a ship notice, or sometimes referred to as building a shipment. The key concepts that we're going to take away are that the ship notice is typically built to communicate with your buyer the shipment of an order. And normally you're going to do this when the bill of lading has actually been processed. We're going to create the document from one of two places, either the Document Management tab or the Purchase Order screen. We can save a ship notice up and finish it later if we get to a point where we can't complete it out. We can have multiple POs on a shipment. We have the ability to provide notes and comments back to the buyer. You can edit quantities on a line or split a line. And if your retailer has given you the ability, you can actually create barcodes as well. Well, to get started, we actually move to the Document Management tab, and from Documents Management, we can select an order, click on Build Shipment, and that takes us over to the Ship Notice screen. Or we can select an individual order, and from this order, do a Build Shipment. So we have two different ways to actually be able to create that advanced ship notice or build the shipment. Today we're going to build our ship notice by selecting on a document, going into the Purchase Order screen. From the Purchase Order screen, we click on the Build Shipment button, and we'll notice as we come into the Ship Notice screen, there's 5 fields that have red asterisks. The red asterisk, remember, indicates that these are required fields, so we have to plug in a number or alphanumeric for the Advanced Ship Notice number. The Advanced Ship Notice date defaults with today's date. The carrier name we get to select from a drop-down box. The ship date defaults in with the ship date from the original PO or from the acknowledgments, and then the tracking number or bill of lading number we will actually go ahead and put in. The first field that has to be entered is the ASN number. The ASN number has to be a unique value, something to identify the ASN number. It cannot be the load identifier or the bill of lading number. You're going to use that number a little later down the field. So we're going to go ahead and enter in a unique ASN number. We notice that the ASN date defaults into today's date. Carrier name, we get to select from the drop-down box, or if our carrier is not there, we can actually go in, we can add the carrier name, and the keys to remember when we add in a carrier name is that we actually have to know the correct SCAC code that goes along with the carrier name. So in this particular one, we're going to go back and we're going to select one of the carriers that we've already used in the past. As a vendor, sometimes it's important for us to be able to change the ship from location. We can do this by using one of our other locations, or we can do an add as new. And if we do an add as new, you can see that the fields change over into editable fields, and we have the ability to save this address for a future use or do it as a one-time. The next field is the ship date. We're going to go ahead and use the date that defaulted in, and it defaults in at today's date. The tracking number has to be the tracking number that, or the bill of lading number is what gets keyed in here. So if you have a tracking number from FedEx or UPS, enter that in, or the bill of lading number. We enter our tracking number. And we also have the ability to add notes. Notes show up as comments like they do in the other screens, where we have the ability to come in, put in our note, add the note, and we'll notice when we add the note, you'll see that our note gets created, our username, the date and time. We can add purchase orders into the ship notice now. So the original purchase order that we came in with, it actually defaults that in and then adds any other purchase orders that are out there that are available to us, so we can select those if we'd like just by putting a check mark into the box there. And we can also select all if we use the box that's up in the header. We have the ability to edit items at the line, so if we're not going to be able to ship the quantities that were on the original purchase order, we can actually go in and change those. So we'll change this quantity to a quantity of 10 that is going to ship, say OK. You'll notice that it highlights it in red because that's now an exception. So at this point in time, we have the ability then to save the ship notice or go ahead and send this off. We're going to save this one just as an example. Now that we've saved the ship notice, we can go over into the advanced ship notice field, and we'll see that there's a blue S over here. And by clicking on the blue S, we can see that we get the box that says, do we want to edit a saved document? We press yes. We want to go back and we want to work on the order that we had there. We see that this is our ship notice number. We click on that, and we have the ability now to go back in and complete the work that was on our order. We see that everything looks okay from where we were before. If we had been set up to be able to create barcodes by our retailer, we could click the create barcode and create barcodes. But in our particular instance, we're going to go ahead and hit ship send notice, and that sends the ship notice off to our retailer. You can always go back and you can take a look at your ship notices. You do that from the document management tab, and you see that we actually have multiple ship notices out here. We can click on the bold blue Y, and we can go look for our ship notice over in the drop down box here. This is the one that we just created, and you'll notice that our notes are there, all the items that we're shipping with the updated quantities, and the information that we created. Again, we can save them to PDF, CSV, print it, and if we were set up, we could print our barcodes at this point in time. So the key takeaways in today's session are that with a ship notice or building a shipment, we're communicating with our buyer the status of the shipment. It's typically prepared when the bill of lading gets processed. We can work with a single PO or multiple POs. If a particular carrier is not there, we can add that carrier. All we need to make sure is that we have a valid SCAC code. We can update the shipping and delivery information. We provide tracking information that actually goes back into the buyer's side, and they have availability of that tracking information on their ship trace screen. We can provide notes and comments back to the buyer, because we all know that communication sure makes things a whole lot easier for everybody. We can edit the quantities on lines to update whether we're going to under or over ship, or leave them alone if we're going to do the shipment that was agreed on. We can create and print barcodes if our retailer has set us up to do that. And we can save a ship notice and finish it up at a later date and time. And then after the fact, we can actually go back and we can view our ship notices, print them off to hard copy, or save them to PDF or over to CSV. That wraps up this EC Utopia education video. We encourage you to use the help button in the application and to view all of our informational videos. If you have any questions, any suggestions or feedback, please let us know by sending us an email to support@ecutopia.com. Thank you, and have a great day.